Ladies and gentlemen, three things I'm going to be talking about to you today. First of all, about how the current system is so unfair for children who lack of one parent and that only parent is in prison. Secondly, how the state should not have the right to deprive the parental right of a prisoner. And thirdly, I'm going to be talking about efficient rehabilitation. But first of all, what do we propose? So the prison provides a secure area for both parent and child to share the family time within hours allowed by a certain schedule. This will be made by mutual agreement over this, and also a court will decide whether it is in the best interest of the child to happen. We're not taking into account people who already have a history in pedophilia, children abuse, or rape, because that's the moment in which they have proven they fail in being a proper parent and they already don't have parental rights. Now, going on to my first point about how it is unfair for children. I believe that children need their parents. It is such an important factor in their development. Likely, they are considering the child's personality. The parents mentally and emotionally support their children. They educate them. So those are the kind of impacts that each and every parent should have over the childhood of that kind of children, of that kind of child, in order for him to develop in a proper way. Now, if we're talking about this context, we see that those kids already lack of one parent. So automatically, those kids are being disadvantaged to a certain degree. Growing up with one parent is not the same as growing up with both, but it's probably better than growing up with none of them. Now, believe that those kids already experience, for example, identity disorder, for the idea of insecurities, if they don't have both parents, the rebellion, they're probably emotionally unstable, they're being introverts, and so on and so forth. So those are kind of of symptoms that we expect from them. Now, what happens when his only parent is taken away from him? Well, if that those problems, those concerns, amplified to a point in which that child is very traumatized. His future will depend on that. Probably he will not be better prepared. He will not be enough prepared for future. He will not integrate in the society as easier as others do. Maybe he will be an unproductive adult. Probably will have mental health disorders. So those are the kind of consequences that we expect from them when his only parent is taken away from them. Now, the second level of analysis is about the question of whether is it morally correct for the state to deprive this child from the right of having a parent. And we believe that's not morally correct. And that's because of three reasons. First of all, that the parents' actions of the moment should not define the child's identity. Secondly, that the child is not responsible and guilty for the parents' actions and for the parents' fault. And third of all, what is more harmful and hurtful is that the sentence doesn't affect the parent as much as it affects the child. Like, look, though I've already talked to you about what are the consequences, the future consequences of those kind of children who are deprived by this right, who are deprived by their only parent, of not being prepared for the future. Now, is it okay to have this kind of depriving for people who are innocent, for children who will be future citizens in our society? And when that's not, and that's the moment in which the state's legitimacy of depriving a prisoner's right ends, because it overlaps with another right, a right to a child to have a parent, to have a proper future, and to have the proper development. Now, going on to my second argument about the efficient rehabilitation, because I believe that punishment role it seeks to prevent the person from reoffending by taking away the desire to offend, and it does that by taking away the liberty and some social rights in order to be kept away from the society. Now, though, being a parent is a natural social role, and parents are tightly connected to their children and vice versa. Now, there has been this misconception that if you are a criminal, if you are being a prisoner, you are a bad parent. Now, let's look at the majority of cases of people who really go into prison. We see that many cases, the majority of cases, are people who have been stealing, who have been drug dealing, who've been doing things like that in order to sustain themselves and maybe their children, because they didn't have money, because they needed opportunities in order to for a living, right? So those are the kind of reasons for their acts, for their actions. Why do we need to understand that as being an inefficiency and the incapacity of that criminal of not being a good parent? Believe that there is a separation of role, and if you are being a criminal, is not mutually exclusive to being a parent. There is a separation of a role, and because it is a primal right, it is not such as other rights. This kind of right, this kind of primal instinct of being a parent, of having a bond with your child, is the kind of thing that makes you be a good parent and having this kind of capacity. Now, if we're talking about successful rehabilitation, we believe that it consists of addressing the complex needs of prisoners, helping them gain skills to avoid going back to prison in the future. Now, taking the example of residential parental program. Residential parental program for infants in prison in Washington state has seen 28% reduction in recidivism among participants compared to the general female prison population. So we believe that when given the prisoner the chance to raise their child, you're tackling their emotional core. There is such a big emotional impact over them that they change themselves. They make them think twice when doing something. Now, when you create this contact between the parent and the child, is a kind of emotional impact and relationship which encourages the prisoners and incentivizes them to choose the right future path, to make the right decisions for him and his baby, to decrease the chances of returning to prison. And this is the kind of rehabilitation that we're looking for. That it is a win-win for the families and for the taxpayers too. So, at the end of the day, I have proven to you that in the current system we should change something, because it is so unfair for a child and children who lack one parent and that only parent is taken away from them. Secondly, I've been telling about this primal right, and how the state should not be should not have this right of depriving this primal right. And third of all, how successful rehabilitation means tackling and addressing the complex needs of prisoners, and how they really change after this. For all those reasons, I beg you to propose.